So I'm not even clickbaiting you guys, Blizzard literally just released an interview in regards to the future of Sylvanas, like an official interview. They talked about how we should not worry because Sylvanas is not going anywhere after 9.2, how we are going to keep experiencing her razor sharp wit in the future, and we shouldn't worry, and they also talked a bit about her character overall and the future developments. So what exactly is this new information? Do they really think Sylvanas is an actually super popular character within the community, and will Shadowlands be the end of her? You must have wiped out a million times in your WoW years, but you probably didn't have Squad OV with you. And this is an app that records your instances automatically, and you can see your complete performance from spell visualizations to death recaps, and best of all, it is free. You don't have to do anything but install it, and you can share yours and watch your friend's perspective. So use my link in the description and check out Squad OV. Turns out most of the speculations were wrong, or were kinda half wrong. The most popular predictions for 9.2 ending was that Sylvanas would be either judged, would end herself by jumping somewhere such as the mall because we had an animation, or that she would sacrifice herself in the final ultimate battle of the Shadowlands. Now, while that hasn't officially been discounted, we got an interview just out of nowhere, really, that I don't think anyone exactly expected. So initially, they confirmed what we already know, and that is that they don't want to reveal anything in regards to the ending on the PTR, so they purposefully kept the final chapter hidden. They pretty much leaked almost the entire story, except for the final chapter that deals with Zoal, Sylvanas, and Tyrande. With Zoal, we are 100% going to end her because we have the achievement you get when you literally kill the jailer, and there is an entire deactivated version model, so that is as close to confirmed as we can get at this point. However, in regards to Tyrande and Sylvanas, this is a lot more unclear. We have some data mine models that indicate that a pretty significant cinematic is more than likely to occur at some point in 9.2. As I already covered, there is also a pretty grand new data mine Sylvanas jump animation that indicates she's going somewhere, jumping somewhere with a purpose, and we also have some data mine voice lines where she says that she submits herself to the judgment of Tyrande Whisperwind. However, this recent interview is the newest bit of information, and just damn, I can't help but wonder what Blizzard is really doing. Are they really just living in their own bubble? Are they really so split away from what the majority of people are actually thinking, and what they're actually saying in regards to the lore? Now, I may be a bit biased, but I'd say as a content creator, I do have a bit more insight into the community than the average WoW player, and I can rightfully say that like 95% of people just want Sylvanas gone from World of Warcraft, while I very rarely get comments about people that are just loving and enjoying her storyline that is going on with her character in the Shadowlands and just want to see a lot more of her in the future. So you can kinda see my shock when in the recent interview, they opened up with a line such as, "The players can rest easy as the Banshee Queen's razor sharp wit and personality won't be going anywhere anytime soon." Now, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I really don't see Sylvanas in this way, and neither does she have a razor sharp wit, nor is she a super crazy, interesting personality. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Sylvanas is just a bad character. She was an excellent character once, maybe in Warcraft 3 and up to the Cataclysm, but since then, she must have been the most inconsistent character ever, where she was just doing one thing one moment, another thing another moment, and then all of a sudden, it is a part of some big grand 10,000, 20,000 year old plan that we still don't even know what it is. I really just don't see her super crazy wit. For like the past 3 expansions, she has just been regurgitating meaningless generic villain lines such as, "This world is a prison, we never had free will," and all that pretty much just led to nowhere in particular. Now, if you followed some of the most recent leaks, there have been talks of certain developers purposefully sabotaging her character and making things difficult, but I think most of us can agree that her story has been a mess, at least to some extent, for a pretty long time. Now, in 9.2, they released that big cinematic where Uther is her therapist and she has been trying to heal her soul and return to her normal self. However, that much is actually possible or impossible. They also expanded a bit on this aspect in the most recent interview. They essentially confirmed that she isn't a different person now or one part of the soul, but she's everything combined. So the Banshee Queen, the evil part is still there and the apparent wit, and so is the Ranger General, and now the two pieces are trying to find a path towards to becoming one person. On first glance, this might be an interesting storyline, but are we really forgetting that she damned like a million different people and that she doesn't really deserve some intense soul searching because, you know, she burned Teldrassil among many other terrible things? Did all these people get personal therapists and a million different chances and all this soul searching stuff? However, other than this, they were kinda really vague in this interview. On one hand, they talk about her razor sharp wit not going anywhere, but on the other, they're talking about the 9.2 Eternity's End will be us working towards the resolution of Sylvanas' arc that has been building up for a very long time. Now, I think this can be interpreted in two ways, really. Either they meant Sylvanas' story will finish up in 9.2 and this might be the end of her character, but as in she's still half Banshee Queen, her razor sharp wit is not going anywhere, like we're gonna see that part of her, meaning Shadowlands will be the end of her character, but she isn't going to suddenly just become a completely good person that is the Ranger General just because she has a new model, at least in this patch. Or, the more likely scenario is that they plan to continue her character after 9.2, and this is what they meant when they said that we won't be getting rid of her crazy wit anytime soon. As I mentioned in multiple videos at this point, we realistically have just gone way too far with Sylvanas. She was interesting at one point, but I feel like her character has been milked beyond reason, and barely anyone even knows what she exactly plans, what she planned, and what is and what was going on. This, on top of the apparent sabotage within the Blizzard story team, creates quite a mess, and I really think the best way to salvage this storyline would be just to sacrifice her or actually sentence her in some form of a trial and actually go with it. The scenario of her sacrificing herself to save Night Elven souls for them all might be decent, or at least she would undo some damage she had personally inflicted. However, the other scenario of her remaining with us after Shadowlands is just a scenario I can't wrap my head around. I can't see any possible way this wouldn't just be bad writing. If you followed the 9.2 PTR storyline, and if you haven't, there are some spoilers ahead, but pretty much the entire story goes from the Shattered Legacy cinematic you have probably seen, and it is evident that over time, we essentially go from very ice cold to kind of warm with Sylvanas. It still isn't sure how warm because they're keeping the final chapter hidden, but we get from just straight out attacking her all the time to tolerating her. We help her relive her memories, and she even rejoices with us after we reforge the Sanctum of Domination, as if she wasn't like the second most responsible person after the jailer. So this warming up can be definitely a bit of a worrying trend, as it could increase and she could do some sort of a big sacrifice where she doesn't actually sacrifice herself like she lives, but saves souls, for example, and then we get some type of an ending where she continues as a character and possibly joins us in some way. At this point, it can really go either way, and this interview is obviously hinting at a pretty big redemption in the future. However, no matter what they decide, I think this will be a pretty big event, as this is the culmination of multiple expansions, and there will be quite a bit of outrage and quite a bit of community interest around this final decision that we will see quite soon. I'm guessing a lot more outrage if they decide to redeem her, but yeah, this is either going to be pretty exciting or just super disappointing with not much of a middle ground. Thank you for watching. Check out the new Cataclysm awaiting us after Shadowlands, and also check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real-world history. See you next time.